Welcome to New York University. My name is Chelsea Duncan. I'm one of the associate directors in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, and I am so excited to speak with you all for about the next hour about NYU. As you can see from this slide, we want to welcome you to a campus without walls. And you might be wondering, what does that mean? Here at NYU, we don't like barriers or things that place our students in a box or limit who they are or who they can become. We want you to know that there are no limits to your educational experience at NYU. Our former president, John Sexton, who is a true New Yorker, born in Brooklyn and always be seen wearing a Yankees hat, would welcome students during orientation and during admitted student days, and he would encourage students to use the city as their classroom. Part of being an NYU student is exploring the city. So he would encourage students to take the train to Chinatown to be a part of Chinese New Year, or experience the street fairs in Little Italy, or you can take the train uptown and explore Harlem and the culture, music, and history of the African diaspora. We also want to encourage you to take it a step further. Why not actually go to our campus in Shanghai, China, or experience Florence, Italy, or spend a semester or a summer in Accra, Ghana? A part of exploring NYU is exploring the world. Before we get into what and where NYU is today, I think it's very important to discuss our history and how we have grown. Albert Gallatin founded NYU in 1831. He was the Treasury Secretary to 2 US presidents. So he was very smart, very well connected, and he was a radical and revolutionary thinker. He founded NYU on several different principles. There are a few that are still very near and dear to who we are today. If you know anything about the 1800s in colleges, universities, institutions during that time, you know that historically, higher education institutions were created to educate one group of people. Historically, that was affluent white men interested in going into the clergy or into the church. And Albert Gallatin wanted to shift that. He wanted to create a university for all people and to educate everyone. So we were one of the first universities on the East Coast to welcome women to study on our campus. We're also one of the first universities on the East Coast to welcome people of all races, ethnicities, and religious backgrounds to study on our campus as well. And we have grown to become one of the most diverse institutions in the US and in the world. He also founded us to be in and of the city. That is why NYU is not located behind any physical gates, as he strove to knock down barriers that would impede upon students' growth and their education. New York City not only provides students with a backdrop, but instead provides limitless boundaries. As I mentioned, Gallatin was a revolutionary thinker, and he also was on the forefront of the curve, meaning he also intended for us to be a global institution. That's something we have been striving towards ever since the 1800s, as we were not able to be successful and complete that goal then. But we think of being a global institution in two different ways. We are striving to have a global community here in the city, and also we are striving to explore the globe in every aspect. Being global here at NYU means a lot of different things. We have more international students at NYU than any other school in the US. There is no one racial or ethnic majority. So if you were to become an NYU student, you would literally be learning with and living with students from all walks of life, all around the US and all around the world. And we are very proud that about 20% of our students are first generation college students, the first in their family to go to college. Also, as I mentioned, that we are striving to become a global institution, is that we have 3 home campuses, 3 degree granting campuses: New York City, Abu Dhabi and the UAE, and Shanghai in China. And we also have a number of global academic centers where students can study away, in addition to doing research, some volunteer work, internships, and a lot of other great things happening around the globe. We have taken this approach because NYU wants students to become global-minded citizens who understand the complexities of the world. Now that we've spoken a bit about our history, I think it's important that we jump right into the admissions and application process. Here at NYU, we first want you to know that the only way you can apply, whether you are applying as a first-year student or transfer, is through the Common Application. That is the only application we accept. Once you choose the Common Application, you then have to choose an application deadline that works for you and your family. Here at NYU, we have early decision and we have regular decision. We have early decision 1 and 2, which are binding contractual agreements. You are basically agreeing to come to NYU before you even know that you are admitted. I like to think of our application deadlines in the terms of dating. If you are applying early decision, you are getting down on one knee, lifting up your application and proposing to us. You are asking to spend the next 4 years of your life with NYU. Now, we are going to take about a month to respond to you, but I do want you to understand the seriousness of applying to NYU via early decision. It is a decision that should be made with you and your family to really think about all the factors that that entails. And then we have regular decision. That means you are dating. You're putting in some applications here and there, and you will receive your admissions decision right around April 1st. So first, understanding that we are a common application school, then choosing the application deadline that works for you and your family, and then also choosing the home campus that you are the most interested in. On the Common Application, you have the opportunity to rank the home campuses. You can choose 1, you can choose 2, totally up to you. I usually encourage students to choose wisely and to choose honestly. We want to admit you into a home campus that you have researched, that you are excited about, and that you can see yourself spending the next 4 years of your life and of your educational experience there. So we have the New York City campus, the Abu Dhabi campus, and the Shanghai campus. I'm going to be speaking a little bit more about each of those campuses throughout the presentation, but just know that you have the opportunity to choose which campus or campuses you might be interested in within the Common Application. Next, we will ask that you choose a school or college that best suits you and your interests and your needs. Here in the New York City campus, we have 10 undergraduate schools and colleges. There are over 230 areas of study to choose from. I strongly encourage you as students who are particularly interested in NYU to do your research. There are some similar programs and different schools, and so we want you to choose the best fit program that works for you and that meets your needs and your interests. Now, again, I'm going to go over those quickly. Choosing the Common Application, choosing the application deadline that works for you, choosing a home campus, and also choosing a school or college that also suits your needs. Once you do all of those things, that is when you submit your application. Now, as someone who has read quite a few applications, I will give you some tips and some hints into what we are looking for in the admissions and application process. Academics is going to be the most important piece of the review. And when we mean academics here at NYU, we mean the classes you have taken in high school, the curriculum, the grades you have earned, and depending on the program that you may be applying to, also your standardized test scores. So we spend a lot of time looking at your transcript and your high school profile. I want you to take a second to think about if you have ever seen your high school profile or if you know what that is. On your high school transcript, we get to see the courses you have taken from 9th grade onward, or all your secondary classes and courses, and the grades you've earned in those courses. However, that transcript doesn't give us much context. That's where your high school profile comes in. That high school profile lets us know, is this an urban school? Is this a rural school? Is this a charter school? Is this a school affiliated with a certain religious sect? Is this a school that offers APs, or is this an IB curriculum? Does your school offer A levels or dual enrollment or honors? We do not think here at NYU that it is appropriate to compare you and your school to another student across town or another school that offers a total different set of curriculum, total different set of courses. We want to make sure we are looking at you within the context of what is available to you. So your transcript and your high school profile are going to be pretty important to us. Also, it's typically a little bit more difficult for us to give an average GPA of our admitted students. As someone who's worked in admissions for quite some time now, I have seen grading scales on a 4.0 scale, 5.0, 6, 7. I've even seen a 13.0 scale, and I just thought, wow, it's getting interesting. Other schools will give out rainbows and smiley faces and sunshines. Other schools will give out huge packets of pros of what that student has done from 9th grade onward. And we do not recalculate GPAs, and so it's a little bit difficult to give you that average GPA. But the most competitive students who are applying to NYU have taken some of those tough courses, have challenged themselves within the context of their curriculum, and have made some of the highest marks, mostly A's, some B's. So keep that in mind when it comes to academics. And then the standardized test scores. So 2 things you should know about NYU. If you are applying to an artistic program that requires an artistic review, an audition, or a portfolio, we are test optional, meaning it is completely optional for you to submit one of the standardized tests. Now, if you are applying to a program that does not require a portfolio or an audition, we are test flexible. Test flexible means we allow students to put their best foot forward and submit their best tests. Now, you in your high school, we understand that you are taking a lot of different exams, right? You might take the SAT, you might try out the ACT, you might be in AP classes, so you're taking some of those. You might try out the subject tests. We allow you to choose your best test. So I will rattle off a list of exams. Just know that they are all on our website of everything that we allow students to submit. We allow students to submit the traditional SAT or ACT. We allow students to submit 3 SAT-2s or subject tests. We allow students to submit 3 AP exam scores. If you are an IB student, you can submit your predicted IB scores. If you are a student in an A-level curriculum, you can submit your predicted A levels. If you are an international student, we allow students to submit a number of different national exams to fulfill that standardized testing requirement. So again, I encourage you to do your research, and you get to choose what is your best exam. So that encompasses the academic section of our review. Then we're going to be looking at those other pieces of the application that make you you, so we can determine if you are a good fit for our campus and a good fit for NYU in general. That's where we're going to be looking at your letters of recommendation, your extracurricular activities, and your essays to determine, are you a good fit for our campus and who we are at NYU? Now, as someone who has read several, and I do mean several different essays as someone who works at NYU, I always like to give a few tips when it comes to essay writing. Now, the first thing, and I know you're going to say, of course I would do this. Of course I would. Please make sure you are answering the question or addressing the essay prompt. Here at NYU, throughout the Common Application, we have a Why NYU essay question where we ask you, why are you interested in NYU? Now, believe it or not, a lot of students will not answer that question. Instead, they will write all about New York City. Maybe they've taken a trip to the city and they write about how they've rode the train or visited the Rockefeller Center or ate at this place or went to the park or did all these wonderful things. And it sounds like they had a great trip, but has nothing to do with our campus. We want to know why you are interested in that school or that major, or if you're undecided, why you're interested in being undecided at NYU. We want to know that you've thought about it, that you've done your research, and you can see yourself being on our campus for the next 4 years. So make sure you are answering the question. The next thing I would say is, please make sure you read your essay aloud. Spell check and grammar check do not catch everything. During this part of the information session, I can always remember one student who submitted an application in his essay, and instead of using the word brother throughout the entire essay, as he was a part of a Big Brother, Little Brother program, he used the word bother. So I'm a big bother, and this is my little bother. And if he would have read that essay aloud, he would have caught that mistake and how that can really make a big impact on his entire admissions application. So make sure you are reading your essays aloud. The third thing I would say is please make sure you are including the correct name of the school in your application essay. We do want to know, as I mentioned, that you are going to be a good fit for NYU and that you are particularly interested in NYU when submitting your application. So now that you've learned a bit more about our application and review process, I think it's really important for you to know about our financial aid process. So at NYU, or I should say a NYU education will require some level of financial investment for virtually every family. But nearly half of our students are applying to receive some form of financial aid. And at NYU, financial aid comes in three forms: grants and scholarships, which is free money to you as a student; loans, money that you eventually do have to pay back; and work study, money that you receive in exchange for working at NYU. Now, if you are interested in receiving any form of financial aid, as a domestic student, you will be required to complete the FAFSA and the CSS profile. And as an international student, you will be required to complete the CSS profile. You can see that our average financial aid package this past year was just about $37,000, but I do want you to keep in mind that that is truly the average. There are students here at NYU that are receiving more or less than that average, and that depends on their financial circumstance based upon the CSS profile and the FAFSA and everything else that is a part of the admissions application. Now, within our admissions process, when we are reading those domestic files, we do want you to know that we are need blind. So what that means is when we review those admissions applications, we do not get to see your financial aid application. We don't know what's in your bank account. We don't know if you can write a full check or you need full aid. So when we are making those decisions, we are only reviewing those aspects of the application that I just spoke about earlier: your academics, your letters of recommendation, your essays, all of those pieces that I just mentioned. Earlier, I said that attending NYU is an investment because earning an NYU degree is more than just a degree. It is a significant experience and network within the US and around the globe. NYU is truly the university that never sleeps. At any given time, our students, faculty, and staff are thinking, learning, and innovating around the clock. NYU has carefully chosen dynamic and metropolitan cities around the globe to be a part of the NYU Global Network. Regardless of your home campus, every student has the opportunity to move throughout NYU's network. Now you can see that NYU has truly embarked on the project of becoming the Global Network University. We have created a structure that allows students and faculty to gather in a set of key locales around the globe to forge new ideas, advance the questions that we ask, and create solutions for those problems that beset us all. You can see that we have 3 degree-granting campuses, those highlighted: New York City, Abu Dhabi, and Shanghai. And we have 11 global academic centers on 6 different continents where NYU operates both academic and residential facilities. The global academic centers allow students to have a home campus, but study away for a semester or a year or a January term or a summer session. As a result, we are truly working to change the concept of studying abroad, or as we say here at NYU, studying away. Now, some years ago, there was a national survey done, and they surveyed US students to determine why aren't more students studying away. There were 3 main outcomes of that survey, and I'll let you know how NYU has addressed each of them. One, students were saying, how can I afford to spend a semester in another country for a year or a semester or a certain time period? Now at NYU, all of that funding that I just mentioned, those grants, scholarships, loans, they follow you as you travel abroad. So if you choose to spend a semester in London or in Paris or in Accra, that funding travels with you. And there are some specific study away scholarships that you can apply for and gain that will help pay for those extra costs that come with studying away. So one was funding. The other students were saying, I am not fluent in the language. How can I spend some time away if I'm not fluent in that language? And we do want you to know that our classes are taught in English. The language of instruction is going to be English at each of the sites. Of course, we encourage students to take the native language and the native tongue so they can be more well-versed in the culture and the community there, but you certainly do not have to be fluent. And the third, students were concerned about credits transferring. You may know friends or cousins or family that have studied away and only 3 of their courses transferred back, or only 9 of their credits. Here at NYU, there is no transferring of credits, as all of our campuses are taught by NYU faculty. They are NYU courses, and they will strictly just go right on your NYU transcript. So again, we have embarked to become the global network university. And all of these locations on the screen are available to all students. You can be in the Tandon School of Engineering or the College of Arts and Science or the School of Professional Studies and have the opportunity to study away at any one of these sites. Now, do not fret. If you are interested in going to a city or a country that is not up on the screen, please note that we do have some specific study away opportunities that are specific to that certain major or department. We have some students that are going to Cuba, others that are going to Ireland or South Africa with their department and with their major. So there are a lot of other exchange partnerships for our students to study abroad outside of our global academic centers that we offer here. Now, students in our liberal studies core and global liberal studies programs can spend their first year away from their home campus. Now you can see just a few cities up on the screen. Liberal Studies at NYU offers 2 unique programs, Liberal Studies Core and Global Liberal Studies. Global Liberal Studies is an interdisciplinary program that allows students to study the liberal arts and specialize in one of 5 concentrations to help them develop an intellectual framework. And then we have the Liberal Studies Core. It's a great fit for students who might be undecided, but they know they have an interest in the liberal arts or the social sciences or the humanities. Students spend 2 years in the program completing an exploratory core curriculum and then transition to one of the other schools and colleges here on NYU's campus to complete their degree. So Liberal Studies Core and Global Liberal Studies students have the option to spend their first year outside of New York City in Florence, Madrid, Paris, London, and our most exotic location of them all, Washington, D.C. Each year, about 300 liberal studies students choose to begin their NYU journey outside of New York City. Now, please know that you have the opportunity to indicate your interest in liberal studies and the various sites on the Common application. I just spoke with a counselor recently, and she was thrilled that one of her students was admitted into liberal studies and was planning to start away in Paris. That student mentioned that they loved studying French and Parisian history and wasn't quite sure what she wanted to do and applied to liberal studies, and she was such a great fit for the Paris campus. So if that's you or you have an interest in spending your first year away, please know that you are able to indicate such on the Common application. Much like our students, our faculty move across our network and are also uninhibited by time zones and comfort zones. 2 things I want you to know about the faculty here. One is that about half of the faculty live in the area, and so there is a strong sense of community and they are readily accessible to students. I was speaking with one student recently who was from a rural area, and she was saying how she just needed some extra assistance and needed to speak with one of the faculty members, and I was encouraging her to go to office hours. I saw her that next week and I said, how was office hours? And she said, I was there for 3 hours. And I was taken aback quite a bit. And I said, wow, what did you do there for 3 hours? And she said, well, the professor definitely helped me with my presentation and the project that I was working on. They answered all of my questions, but then they just started asking me about what residence hall do I live in? Where am I from? Why am I interested in NYU? How am I getting along with my roommate? You know, what internships or research opportunities might I be interested in? They were really concerned about who I am, even outside of the classroom. And so I do want you to know that the main focus of our faculty here are you, the student. They are interested in teaching you, getting to know you, and connecting with you on many different levels. We like to say that we have an unrivaled team of prominent researchers, professors, and scholars. We are the only university where faculty have won every major prize from the Abel to the Tony. And I want you to know, as incoming first-year students or potential transfer students, that you have the opportunity to spend your first semester or your first year here at NYU taking classes with professors who have won the Nobel Prize, the Abel Prize, the Tony and Oscar, so forth and so on. They are available to our undergraduate students. So as I mentioned, that first priority is teaching. The second priority is doing research, as we are a research-one institution. All of our faculty are also conducting their own research. And typically, when I say research, that may bring an image of in your mind of someone with a white lab coat on, holding a beaker in a lab. And please know that we definitely have that science research available to you as a student. But I want you to think outside of the scope of a lab coat, of science research. I want you to think of doing research here at NYU. It's just delving deeper into the topic or to the subject of your choice. For example, we have professors here that are studying the psychology and well-being of middle children, while we have other faculty members that are researching the gentrification of certain neighborhoods in New York City. Now, many times, there are students who will attach themselves to a research project that one of our faculty members is already working on. That's how many of our students will travel and present at various conferences. Many of them will also become published as they are working with faculty here on our campus. While we have other students that come in and they know exactly what they want to do and are able to propose a research project and receive funding for it right here at NYU. I'll tell you a little story about a person named Allie. Allie was interested in neuroscience here at NYU. She came in and she knew immediately that she wanted to work in a lab. In her first year, she did some research at NYU's hospital. Her second year, she did some research at another hospital in the area. In her third and fourth year, she applied for a research grant and explored how emotional abuse impacts the brain of children. And that's just one example of the many experiences you can have here at NYU. We have talked a lot about the university as a whole, but as I noted, you have to determine which campus or campuses are of interest to you. Although there are many qualities that are shared by our three campuses, each is also distinct in what they offer. So I'm going to delve a little bit more into each campus, starting off with our New York City campus. The New York City campus is the largest and oldest of the three. Started off with just a student body of about 158 students and has blossomed to over 20,000 undergraduate students here. They hail from over 115 different countries represented. Now here in New York City, we have our main campus here in Washington Square, and our Tandon School of Engineering students are located on our Brooklyn campus. No matter which campus you're located on, please know that everything is going to be right at your fingertips. At either campus, you can walk out of your residence hall, grab a coffee or tea at your local bakery, go to class, quickly shop if you spilled some coffee on your shirt, and then head to your internship or head to do some research. Everything in this city is right at your fingertips. Now, I mentioned we have 10 undergraduate schools and colleges here at NYU, so there are lots of things to choose from. If you are interested in the liberal arts or the humanities, the College of Arts and Science or the liberal studies might be best for you. If you're interested in STEM, you might want to research the Tandon School of Engineering. If you're interested in going into the business realm, there are many ways to gain business experience here at NYU. Of course, we have our traditional undergraduate business major within the Stern School of Business, but we also have a business and technology management program within the Tandon School of Engineering, and the School of Professional Studies offers hotel management and real estate. If you're interested in the arts, you may want to do some research into Steinhardt or Tisch that offer programs such as recording music, film and television, drama, theater. If you're interested in education and health-related fields, you should look further into the education programs within Steinhardt or the nursing program in the Roy Myers College of Nursing or the Silver School of Social Work. If you don't fall into any of those prescribed categories or boxes and you would like to create your own major or your own path here at NYU, I encourage you to do some research into the Gallatin School of Individualized Study. Gallatin is a school that we created specifically here for students who are interested in creating their own concentration and forging their own path. Typically, students who are interested in Gallatin are interested in something extremely specific that we would never have here as a major, or they're interested in the combination of different topics. Just to give you a few examples, there was one young woman who was interested in studying women's fashion design from the 1800s to the 1900s. Again, something we would not be able to study because we don't have that as a major, but Gallatin allows you to do such. She took classes within Steinhardt and the College of Arts and Science and our Stern School of Business, and so forth and so on to create her own major. There are lots of opportunities for you to do that here. However, it is important for you to know that as a NYU student on New York City's campus, you have free reign over the campus academically. You have access to each school so that you are able to possibly double major or have a cross-school minor or simply take classes outside of your school, outside of your department, and outside of your major. If you have multiple and varied interests, we want you to explore all of them right here at NYU. Now, I mentioned that though we are vast, the structure here at NYU allows faculty to connect with students on a personal level. We are a community, so we have an intimate academic environment where our student-faculty ratio is just about 10 to 1, and our average class size is typically less than 30 students. Now, I'm going to ask that you fly halfway around the world with me to our Abu Dhabi campus. As you can imagine, our Abu Dhabi campus is just a bit different from the New York City campus. It has about 1,300 students and was founded in 2010. NYU broke new ground when creating Abu Dhabi. It is the first liberal arts college in the Middle East operated by an American research university. It's located on Saadiyat Island, which is translated to the happiest island. So imagine waking up on the happiest island. It's also the cultural island there. There are plenty of performing arts theaters and beaches and the Guggenheim, but it is the hotspot for entrepreneurship and global art within the Middle East. A few things I want to point out about our Abu Dhabi campus. And just about 1,300 students in the student body, they hail from over 120 different countries. The global diversity within the Abu Dhabi campus is unlike anything I've ever seen. In just one engineering class of 25 students, students hailed from 24 different countries. The one overlap country was Moldova. What are the odds that you are at NYU in Abu Dhabi, literally learning and living with people from all around the world? So it is very diverse, very global. And also, we want you to know that that student-faculty ratio is going to be just about 5 to 1. So it's a very intimate campus, and they host have about 25 different majors while there. Now I'm going to ask that you keep flying east with me to go to our Shanghai campus, located in China's largest city, which is a hub for 21st century advancement right in Shanghai. The student body is about 1,250 students and it has about 20 majors within our Shanghai campus. It is the first American university with independent registration status within China, which means which translates to NYU being the first U.S. school to grant a Chinese university degree. Students will graduate NYU Shanghai with 2 degrees, a NYU degree, as is New York University, and a Chinese university degree, which allows students to remain in China and work in certain sectors that requires that degree. So it opens up their opportunities all the more. About 50% of the student bodies are Chinese nationals, and about 50% hail from all around the world. And the great thing about Shanghai is that the location is bar none. It's located in Pudong within the financial district there. And that means it really opens up opportunities for internships, volunteer opportunities, all the more. The Career Development Center in Shanghai has about 2,000 jobs and internships available for students, specifically for NYU students. Now I'm going to keep flying with you and speak with you a little bit more about NYU in general. As you travel through the global network, it is important for you to know that there are some things that remain constant. At NYU, you'll be required to complete a core curriculum. Each student is required to take a number of math and science courses, humanities courses, and social sciences courses, as the liberal arts is the foundation of who we are here at NYU. However, it is important for you to know that you can complete the core curriculum in interesting and unique ways. I know a student who wasn't that great at math and science, and they were a little bit nervous about completing that aspect of the core curriculum, and they took a human evolution course where they were constantly working with bones to fulfill that science requirement. I know one student who fulfilled her world language requirement by doing an intensive language program over the summer in Paris. So many ways to fulfill that core curriculum requirement. Also, parents, housing is guaranteed for all years at NYU if you live on campus your first year. All of our residence halls are going to be suite or apartment style right here in New York City. So there are lots of things to choose from. And we have some great living learning communities here. We have exploration communities where students are able to live and learn with like-minded people. Those themes do change every year, every other year. In the past, we've had one for women in STEM. We've had ones for exploration halls for students who are interested in vegan or vegetarianism or recycling and sustainability. Those students will live together, they may take a class together, and they also have the opportunity to do some research with a certain faculty member assigned to that exploration community. In New York City, no two students from the same zip code will be roommates. In Abu Dhabi, you'd be hard pressed to find someone with the same zip code. And in Shanghai, Chinese nationals, students are paired with international students. Now, though NYU is a non-traditional campus, we do have a robust student life right here on our campus and off our campus as well. Students get together and explore their shared experience. We like to say here at NYU that we are a community of micro-communities. We have over 400 student-run clubs and organizations, state-of-the-art lab facilities. We have the largest theater south of Times Square. We have 2 athletic centers and over 20 plus varsity sports right here on our campus. There is a lot to explore and a lot to do. I like to say that we have the more serious clubs and organizations, or the organizations you might be more familiar with within your high school, such as Mock Trial, Model UN. Those students are doing great things. But we also have some opportunities for students to just meet people and start to form community. Our more popular club right now is our Cheese Club, where students are able to get together various times throughout the months and try out various cheeses. And it is inclusive, as vegans are welcome and they try out vegan cheese as well. But we do know that part of why you are interested in NYU is because something about New York City is calling your name just a little bit. It's exciting, it's alluring, it's a little nerve-wracking, and it's something that you are interested in. And we do want our students to explore this city as well, which is why we have something called Ticket Central. Ticket Central is the place you can go if you want to go to a Broadway play, see a movie, go to a concert, a Yankees game, so forth and so on at a discounted rate. We are trying to make New York City as affordable as we possibly can. Now, we do offer a number of different traditions on our campus as well. 2 of my favorites I'll briefly mention is that all of our students will graduate in Yankee Stadium. It is so amazing and so humbling to see a sea of violet in Yankee Stadium as all of their family and friends are cheering on our students. And my other favorite is Strawberry Fest, where we take over and shut down streets in New York City and have the longest strawberry shortcake in New York. It literally goes for blocks and blocks and blocks. I don't know how they do it every year, but it is a lot of fun. I also like to say that, NYU is meant for students to create. You can create your own community and create your own organization, which reminds me of one student named Kelsey. Kelsey is one student at NYU that saw a need amongst the community and founded the Strive for College organization. Strive for College recruits NYU students to mentor and assist underserved and underrepresented students throughout the college application process, and that organization is thriving. As I mentioned, there's a lot to do and see within NYU and in New York City, and so which is why one of the reasons we've created an office here called the Office of Student Success that really holistically helps students throughout their time here at NYU, helps be a support and provide services as they are students here. Now, at NYU, at the University Without Walls, we want you to know that nothing stands in your way. And I will give you an example of a student where he did not let anything stand in his way. His name was Robert Clinton, who was from the Bay Area. He actually turned down a football scholarship to come to NYU. Initially, he didn't know what he was interested in or what he was going to be doing, but he applied to Gallatin. And though he was unsure, he realized that every class, or almost every class that he took his first year, had the word urban in it. And he became interested in food justice. He became a Gallatin Global Fellow, where he ventured and explored and did some research in Ghana, Berlin, Egypt, and much more. He created a concentration entitled The Sociology and Politics of Urban Agriculture. He was interested in researching how the design of cities impacts the way people access healthy foods. And throughout that research, he created an organization here called Know Your City, Know Your Neighborhood, that was able to connect locals within the New York City area and also NYU students as well to healthy foods within their neighborhood. Robert really became interested in this research and he wanted to continue. So he applied for the Marshall Scholarship. He applied for the Marshall Scholarship and ended up getting an interview. He was so excited, but throughout his time here, he realized that he had been working in urban areas. He had also worked on farms in Ghana and throughout various countries. And because he did so much field research and field work, he realized that he didn't have a suit to go to his interview. Well, he ended up speaking with his advisors and some of the other support services on the campus here. They were able to get Robert an interview. And long story short, Robert ended up getting a Marshall Scholarship, where he is now living and learning in the UK with plans to come back to the States and teach after doing this research. So we want you to know this is just one example of the many ways that students are able to use all the support services available to them to be successful. Now, one of our mottos here at NYU is being comfortable anywhere and successful everywhere. As I mentioned earlier, that the global experience is a focal point of NYU student experience, so is experiential learning. Students have a dedicated career office that helps with any type of career development, such as reviewing your resume, conducting mock interviews, connecting you with professionals in your area of study. Being in New York City certainly helps connect students with lots of internships and job opportunities. At our Wasserman Center for Career Services just last year, they helped connect students through a career website to over 22,000 internships within the city. Now, that does not account for students who are going back home to their home countries or hometowns over the summer and doing internships. That's just within the city alone. So when we say that there are thousands of internships available for NYU students, we truly mean that. So I want you to take just 1 second to think of your dream internship. If you could dream to work anywhere and intern anywhere, where would you want that to be? For some of you, that might mean Sony or Universal or Warner or the Today Show or CNN or a finance company on Wall Street or the UN or the Met or a hospital. The list goes on and on and on. We have helped place students in all of those places I mentioned and plenty of other places. And that's why we want you to get connected to the Wasserman Center for Career Services. They like to say, come early, come often. They want you to have those internship and those research experiences early on, and not just to pad your resume, but to experience them to determine if this is going to be a good fit for you. So you will be able to have those conversations and connect with people as you are looking and moving on throughout your educational career to eventually graduate and move on after that. Now, this is what I like to call our return on investment slide. You can see that about 94% of our students participated in at least one internship or job. About 97% of our students were employed or enrolled in graduate school within 6 months of graduation. About 56% of those students secured that job through an NYU resource. Part of our priority in our job here at NYU as faculty and staff and administrators are to help you achieve your goals. This is the university without walls, and we are truly helping students break down any of those barriers to achieve their dreams. Thank you all for listening today. I hope you were able to gather some great information about NYU, and we do want to connect with you. Feel free to give us a call or send us an email. We would love to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much. Have a great day.